Hi, everybody, and welcome to the 2022 One Sustainability event. And I'm very, very happy here to introduce Nick Cherukuri, who is the CEO and founder of ThirdEye. And they're also a strategic partner of One Business World. We're so pleased to have him. And Nick was recently, by the way, nominated and joined the prestigious Forbes Technology Council. Congratulations on that, Nick. Nick will talk with us about how AR and Metaverse tech aids the ESG efforts in enterprise and consumer sectors. Nick, thanks again for joining us. We look forward to hearing you.
Thank you so much. And I'm going to share my screen right now and enter a presentation. But yeah, thank you everyone for your time today. Today I wanted to talk about the metaverse. I know this is a big theme right now, and specifically how it's impacting ESG standards. Feel free to ask any questions. This will just be a general presentation about how this technology will impact the world as we approach the 2030 and future goals of different ESG worldwide standards. So just some really quick background about ThirdEye. We were incorporated recently, but we have over 20 years experience developing metaverse tech for the US Department of Defense. That's our main pedigree with the US government. We've developed complete hardware and software in the metaverse space, and we have a pretty dynamic worldwide team. So it's pretty strong pillars, and we're focused on expanding this market extensively worldwide. So why is this metaverse such a big topic right now? So this is projected to be almost an 8 trillion plus market over the next 50 years or so after 2020. This was projected by Morgan Stanley and many other market studies. This represents a major shift in the market. 50 years ago, we had laptops and computers the size of rooms. Now we switched to phones and tablets and smartwatches. And the future of this is wearable devices. And the power that this can impact ESG is via 3D holographic manners, which we'll elaborate in this presentation, which can help replace a lot of the pollution and different mechanisms that are being used right now by various companies. So this has tremendous power to impact ESG standards via the 3D holographic views of the glasses. So a really quick illustration of what AR, MR does. So just a quick tourism use case is, say you're visiting a center, you see it how it is right now, like this is the famous Acropolis in Greece. You can connect it with any 3D application. So this can help replace any physical objects and overlay any information on top of the real world. Similarly, for television, you don't need a physical TV anymore. You can have a virtual TV that follows you around the world. And this is just a couple illustrations of helping replace a lot of physical technology with virtual technology. And that's something that is going to become more and more pervasive for helping replace existing physical products, devices with virtual products. So imagine the impact this will have on manufacturing. So one of the main ESG effects is we can use AR, MR, metaverse technology to develop an understanding of climate change effects. So this is a study from conservation.org, and it mentions that the concentration of CO2 has increased to the highest in human history. And this is a lot of this is directly the result of direct deforestation. So people can use augmented reality and metaverse tech to really visualize events such as wildfires, famines, deforestation, droughts, and the impacts of carbon emissions. For example, you could wear the smart glasses and view an existing forest or any public sphere, and then simulate that with the effects of global warming, say 50 years in the future. And you can have that information overlaid on top of the real world. So what this metaverse AR tech really helps people to do is visualize digital information on top of the real world. And this can really help to develop an understanding of the effects of climate change. So this is one use case that we're already seeing that metaverse tech is having a positive impact for. In order to stay ahead of environmental sustainability goals, organizations have to be always looking forward. And many companies are looking at implementing metaverse tech because By using augmented reality teleconferencing platforms, you're able to achieve your environmental sustainability goals by reducing carbon emissions, carbon footprint, eliminating the need for unnecessary employee travel to on-site locations, providing your workforce with new tools for collaboration and troubleshooting. So we saw how, for example, Zoom took off during the pandemic where everyone's remotely working. This remote work, this mixed work, hybrid work, whatever you want to call it, this is going to remain a big part of society going forward. And Metaverse tech is going to be a major part of that. Imagine you're sitting around your house and you put on the smart glasses and you visualize a 3D hologram of your fellow workers. So instead of having to go on site or travel, or a senior expert having to fly to train a junior technician, all of this can be virtualized. This is perhaps the biggest benefit of Metaverse tech for ESG standards, for helping train junior employees. In the past, if you were a new employee, you may have had to have a senior expert train you, or you may have to fly on site or go to some location to get the training. But with AR and with Metaverse tech, you can just hold your phone up or put your glasses on and get step-by-step instructions for understanding how to do a 100-step process. And this is something that we have already seen, for example, in the automotive space. You have many car technicians, car dealerships. Now the technicians in these dealerships can just wear the glasses and figure out how to fix or repair a pretty complex piece of engine or different car equipment. And they don't need to have the rigorous senior expert fly out on site, and help save not only company costs, but also reduce carbon emissions. So this is a big part of implementing Metaverse tech. And we have a short video here, which we'll share right now. Just give me one moment, please. So this is a short video and we'll talk while it's playing.
ThirdEye's focus on environmental, social, and corporate governance, spearheaded by augmented reality solutions for a better world. Reduction in travel-related greenhouse gas emissions. At ThirdEye, we are focused on leveraging our augmented and mixed reality platforms to aid in environmental sustainability. We are working to help reduce greenhouse gas emissions in conjunction with the Environmental Protection Agency's goal of a carbon-neutral green future. With the emergence of the COVID-19 pandemic, the reduction of global transportation accelerated and highlighted the impact that travel has on our planet. According to the EPA, the transportation sector is the largest contributor at 29% to anthropogenic U.S. greenhouse gas emissions. Cars, trucks, commercial aircrafts, and railroads all contribute to these emissions. By using ThirdEye's augmented and mixed reality remote telepresence solutions,
So quickly pausing here. So this is the use case where a car technician could be wearing the glasses and be visualizing a remote expert giving them instructions how to fix an engine. And this could be extrapolated to any piece of complex machinery. So this really reduces the amount of travel needed for pretty much every enterprise company worldwide with remote workforce.
Remote Eye, organizations are reducing the need for employee travel to on-site locations while improving cost savings. ThirdEye's ROI calculator, linked in this video's description, is a helpful illustrator of this that highlights the savings of reduced employee travel. Not only are AR and MR teleconferencing platforms financially prudent due to traveling less, but by using this technology to share knowledge and operational workflows, there are tremendous carbon emission savings. A future roadmap item for Remote Eye is a carbon footprint score for every organization that uses the platform.
So by this, we mean that every organization can be incentivized to deploy as much remote assistance technology as possible to reduce their travel and reduce their carbon footprint and keep accurate metrics of their carbon footprint for any reporting standards and things like that. So this is something that we have seen requests from pretty major companies as well.
Score will be used to illustrate how much the organization is contributing to bettering the environment through the use of AR. Social impact. Using augmented and mixed reality, we can bring education and telehealth to underprivileged areas around the world. Our HIPAA-compliant RespondEye platform allows doctors to view exactly what health problems a remote patient is dealing with through the eyes of a pair of smart glasses or other device. Doctors can then provide patients and stand-in caretakers with proper diagnoses, treatment care instructions, and additional professional medical advice.
That's a massive use case on the healthcare side, where we're talking to organizations, major hospitals, AT&T, FirstNet, even Doctors Without Borders. You don't have to be on site. You can have the remote holographic expert doctor there and teaching you. Similarly for education.
Underprivileged areas that struggle without access to top educational resources, students can benefit from remote tutoring streams by experienced teachers all through our Remote Eye platform. Reducing material waste with holographic visualizations. Continuing on our path toward a carbon-neutral green future, we can't forget to mention another crucial green benefit of augmented and mixed reality: the introduction of multidimensional 3D models into our corporate and consumer landscapes. With immersive holographic models, ThirdEye's technology allows organizations to reduce their need for inventory, equipment, and other physical assets. Replacing these items with digital twins of themselves allows organizations to decrease production emissions and costs. ThirdEye is committed.
So that's the massive, let me just go back there. That's the pretty interesting, and this is really at the cutting edge of Metaverse ESG collaboration, where with the rise of digital twins, we see the industry 4.0, that terminology. You can really make a digital twin, a virtual twin of any real world object. And what this will enable companies to do is they don't need to spend not just expense, but also they don't need to manufacture that equipment. They can visualize and simulate a lot of things in the metaverse. They can, for training, for different types of simulations in pretty much every industry. So creating this digital twin of the real world will help eliminate the need for a lot of physical objects, which will hence eliminate the need for a lot of manufacturing, which will benefit the environment. So that's also another additional benefit that we're seeing. So this video just went over some of the use cases. There are many others for Metaverse ESG collaboration. So that video was a helpful overview of and help visualize some of the 3D use cases of Metaverse tech. As I mentioned, the transportation sector is the largest contributor at 29% to emissions. And what this will help, Metaverse will do, is help reduce travel costs for that. So you can reduce a lot of travel needs. You can simulate a lot of things in 3D holographic manners. And that will really contribute towards eliminating the biggest carbon emissions factor that the US EPA has indicated so far. So you can also do things such as environmental related trips. So you have a senior expert see what I see, and nearly 80% of the global workforce uses their hands while they work. So this will help operate for that. Another massive use case that we're working on with several major countries right now is supporting smart cities. So smart cities is something where we have the IoT technology from all the sensors in your homes, your cars, your cameras. Similarly, AR, the glasses, will help unify all this data network through 5G technology. And you can help display information and optimize any energy needs using AR. So you can have live tracking. You can connect to any other IoT device. With 5G, everything will be more interconnected as well. And this will help enable more efficient energy standards and just streamline all the data needs. So as more and more cities enter Industry 4.0 and become electrified and have more sensors across all their houses and office buildings, using AR Metaverse tech will help enable the smart city development as well. This is one thing that we showed in the video. So AR technology can help turn physical objects redundant. Burger King actually had a very famous example of this, where they had a game where they had a virtual toy instead of a physical toy, and they reduced a lot of the toys they manufactured. Similarly, any object like manufacturing object or anything that needs to be simulated for R&D purposes or for educational purposes can now be visualized in a 3D holographic manner. And this is something that, as with 5G and as technology gets more and more pervasive with AR, Metaverse, and IoT, we'll have a full 3D map of pretty much any object you look at, and you can even make your own virtual 3D hologram of any object. So this will be massive as well, and this will be as big as the remote assistance in terms of reducing environmental costs using metaverse tech. So this is an example. Healthcare is one of the biggest markets we're seeing an impact with reduced travel. Obviously with COVID, a lot of EMTs and hospitals were looking at technology to help optimize their operations. So we work with some pretty major hospitals. As you can see here is an EMT wearing the glasses, and a remote expert, a remote doctor, can now manage a fleet of EMTs. They don't have to be on as many sites as possible. So this increased the efficiency of the field workers, reduced the costs, overhead costs of the organization, and most importantly, it benefited the people that they were using it for. So this was a really valuable use case in the healthcare side. And we saw almost a 40% improvement in ambulance time. So, and the metaverse has tremendous applications in healthcare, ranging from aiding the vision impaired to Alzheimer's. And this was just one of the use cases, but it shows how much this tech can reduce travel costs and impact organizations across all sectors. Similarly, this is a use case in the US Army, where a field technician can be wearing the glasses and a senior command can see what the field technician is seeing and give them remote expert advice. And the remote expert could be 100 miles away, 1,000 miles away, doesn't matter, because it has a Wi-Fi and Bluetooth chip built in. So this is another really valuable use case. So final couple of slides, just going over how this impacts every industry. So the metaverse isn't restricted to one industry. The reason these studies from Morgan Stanley and other market studies showed as such a massive market is because it impacts every industry. So far, it's been mostly impacting the military and enterprise, but soon it's going to reach the consumer space as well. We see the announcements coming from Apple, from Meta, Microsoft, and this is going to become more and more pervasive. And one day, every household, every family will have some type of metaverse tech. And this will really be the next form of communication. And in terms of environmental benefits, the pros, as we discussed, are much more beneficial than the cons, the negatives. So the pros, to summarize, are reduced travel. You don't need to be on site. You can have a junior person on site, and a senior expert can see what you see in real time and give you live AR instructions. You can visualize anything you want in 3D. You can replace all the televisions. You can replace manufacturing equipment, educational equipment. All of this can be visualized in a 3D manner using metaverse tech, and many other benefits from telehealth, remote education, even drone use. All of these things will connect us better, but it will also help the environment in terms of reducing the needs for travel and other things that cause a lot of carbon emissions in the transportation side. So this was just an overview of kind of the benefits. Our team is happy to give anyone a more detailed overview as well. But wanted to keep this high level. This metaverse is going to become more and more pervasive over the next decade or so, and we're at the cutting edge of this space and seeing some really cool benefits. And obviously, ESG benefits are one of the main benefits of this space. So thank you everyone for your time, and yeah, feel free to reach out anytime and ask anything.
Nick, thank you very much. Obviously it's fascinating stuff, and I think a lot of people are familiar with AI and augmented reality when it comes to like entertainment. Everybody's hearing more about that, but it's a real eye opener to see how it's just going to affect work, everyday life, and health and all that. It's not only going to make things easier and cut down on emissions and all that, but actually higher quality results, right? I mean, if someone's working on my car and I pick it up from servicing, it's going to probably get done right. Where, how often we go and have to bring it backwards is another problem because people aren't trained well. So this helps everything. I mean, it's fantastic. I didn't see any of the audio. The audio is built into the glasses, I assume, because nothing I saw over people's eyes, for instance.
So the audio, there's a speaker here. So there's speaker, and also you can connect Bluetooth to earplugs or any type of wireless Bluetooth audio as well. So, yeah. But there's a built-in speaker as well.
Okay. the digital copies that you mentioned, would that also have a play in 3D printing? Does that also tie in with that?
Yes, there's definitely collaboration there where you can basically scan any real world object into a 3D CAD model, export that into Metaverse, or you can 3D print that as well. But the goal of the digital twins industry 4.0 is to make a full virtual copy of the real world. For example, New York City, making a full digital copy of it. And then you can have any information on top of any location, for example, or any object. And that's really the future of like the 3D world, 3D digital world. So that's really going to become the next major thing and help reduce a lot of things that we need at the moment by visualizing it in a holographic manner.
Generally, obviously costs come down in all these things, but is that a barrier of entry for certain, jurisdictions, companies? Is there issues with that right now? Is the cost at a point where it's starting to come down, or where do you see costs play in?
So that's a really good question. So on the business side, the beauty of B2B is they see the ROI of this technology. So it's helping save them a lot of travel costs, training expenses, a lot of the machinery they might need to have bought before. So within 1-2 months of deploying this tech, they're already seeing the ROI. On the consumer side, that's really the open question right now. No one's figured that out yet. So that's really going to be the case of developing some really useful applications on the consumer side, like those entertainment applications we showed, where you don't need to buy a television. You can just have this wherever you go, and also many other things you might not need. So I think that on the enterprise side, the use case is really strong. Like you mentioned, the technician use case of the car auto mechanic. So there's a strong ROI there. And then on the consumer side, that's really the next wide open field right now.
Okay. Yeah, I want to see. We have a question: how easy and economical for a company to implement the tech, and how much time is needed for that? I guess I partly asked that question, so I think you've kind of answered that. But in terms of time of implementation.
Yeah, so we have a wide range of customers in different industries, from the US military, major hospitals, telecoms, and we found that within a few weeks, even like people who aren't used to this tech are finding it easy to use, because you can use your voice commands, you can use gestures, you can use your fingers. So it's really user intuitive. We also have 24/7 support, so dedicated support. So any questions, we're always there to help answer. But yeah, we try to make it as user friendly as possible, and they're seeing the strong benefits of using AR, which is really cool to see.
Now, if you see this being in the home of every single family, most families, however you see it, that means a lot of production. How many companies and countries are now producing this kind of technology?
So right now there are a few companies, and some of them are just focused on the B2B space, and some are focused on the B2C space. And on the B2C space, I think definitely there will probably be at least like 5 to 10 companies trying to hit the market, because obviously there's billions of potential users there. So there will be a lot of push in the B2C space, but there has to be definitely a lot of useful content, games. Like the reason the iPhone took off is because of the App Store and all the apps that could be made on it. So similarly for this, there are already a lot of cool apps, but the ecosystem needs to keep growing. And then, yeah, I think everyone will want to have these, because the benefits will be much higher than the negatives. The benefits are you can be totally private. You can take this around with you. You can replace a lot of the things you're spending money on right now, like your TV, fitness trackers, all that stuff. So yeah, there's definitely a lot of strong use case.
It seems to democratize everyone, because everybody's going to have eventually these glasses. We're all going to have access to information very, very quickly. It's interesting. This was fascinating, Nick. Really, that was great. Really enjoyed it. And I know we're going to want to have you back to talk more about some of this, to get into some more details. But thank you so much for joining us today. It was great.
Thank you for your time, guys, Jeff, Stelios, and everyone in the chat. And feel free to reach out anytime. Our team is happy to give a more detailed demo. Thank you.
Thank you.